And liftoff. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to, what is it called again? The Halloween Hellrazers special? Yeah, see, I'm not exactly from Earth, so, yeah, we do have some things in common, though, but let's just say holidays are kind of one of them, but not exactly. Anyway, who am I exactly? Well, yours truly is Fang Rokkit, the leader of the Delta Fang squadron, a ragtag team of mercenaries that have saved the Solaria Earth to tell you all about it. Well, all about the tall tales, that is. So, sit back and relax as I fly in my custom-built Comet ES. Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, I'm a merc. I'm not one of those mercs, though. You see, mercenaries in the Solaria System have a different meaning. For the most part, mercs are seen as a symbol of good. In other words, we're soldiers who are just fighting the good fight. Yeah, people like the money. But for people like me and my team, it's all about, helping people out. So, I hope you'll join me for what is undoubtedly going to be a big adventure. And, yeah, so, anyway, where to begin? Oh. Huh? Hey, Volpiro. Yeah, we should totally talk about that first, seeing as how, we're in California, aren't we? Yeah, anyway. So, first tale to talk about is the haunted apartments in Callahan. So, on your planet, you have a place called California, which is kind of where I'm at right now. Stealth mode engaged. Utopia. We have a place called Callahan, in a nice country known as Ameridon. Callahan is a lot like this place, only, a lot less stuck up. But we're going to be talking about the haunted apartments in Callahan. So let's get to it. To fly all the way out to the more desolate part of California here. Yeah. I have to say, this Earth Fighter sure is nice. I mean, it doesn't have G diffusers, but it's still pretty nice. Anyway, we're approaching the location now. This thing sure handles like a dream. Anyway, so this is apparently where it was. Now, I say apartments, but it was actually a motel. So, yeah. I should also mention that I was given exclusive permission by the owner of this channel to broadcast this. So, thank you, Dragostar? That's your name, right? Yeah. For not only making a pretty cool outfit for me, which looks remarkably similar to my combat suit, but yeah. 404. I wonder if Volpiro knows anything about that. Anyway, so this is our first place to go to. These motel things. Yeah. Apparently, this is different in our world, because this was actually something So, Callahan. I don't really have much experience with that place, because I haven't really been there. I've just flown over it during the Solarian Wars that we fought through. But, I can tell you this. In Callahan, rather, it's a set of apartments. Like, this entire place right here would have been apartments. So, apparently they're haunted, but not here. Like I said, I don't really have much experience with Earth, alright? Huh? Oh. Anyway, so, what can I tell you about the haunted apartments in Callahan? More specifically, what they call the Salamara Desert. So the Salamara Desert is, well, a massive desert, as you can see from this place, which is called Sandy Shores, apparently. Wait. Are we sure this is called California? Oh. San Andreas. Okay, yeah. I guess I'll get back in the comment. So, the haunted apartments were once a thriving apartment complex in the Salamara Desert. However, a fire broke out one day, and, well, let's just say that some people, you know, lost their lives, I should say, trying to fight the fire. They fought the good fight, but they unfortunately lost. The fire was eventually extinguished by the Salamara Desert Fire Department, but yeah, it was an intense blaze. But what I can say is that the people who were lost there now inhabit that same place as spirits from the great stars. Now, I hear you asking me, what the hey is the great stars? You see, in the Solaria System, we don't exactly have a religion. Instead, we have our own kind of beliefs. We have the great stars and the great void. The great void is a massive red nebula that's located just on the outskirts of our star system. And the great stars is what we call, well, the stars in the night sky. According to the ancient Solarians that once founded our planets, it was said that the great stars will gain a star whenever someone good passes away. For example, and this is going to be a bit tragic, take my parents and my girlfriend, Kayla. They were all lost in an incident that took place at the Capitol Hall in Metropia City, which is where I live. I'd rather not talk about it because it's a pretty devastating subject, but all you need to know is that when someone passes away, their spirit becomes a star in the sky. However, if someone that is utterly despicable, you know, someone that you just don't see as a great person and has done nothing but wrong, passes away, we say they are a star within the great void, never to be seen again. Given the fact that in Earth's beliefs, it is believed that there's a heaven and a hell, apparently. Yeah, uh-oh. Warning. Weather phenomenon detected. Uh-oh. No thanks, guys, just flying over. Yeah. Anyway, all you need to know is, well, like I said, it's not really a religion, but it's got a similarity to it. You know, you got a good place and a bad place where you go, but instead of them becoming ghosts, they become stars. But then we have the background of those apartments. The Solaria Desert is home to a lot of people who, quite frankly, aren't exactly the best. Oh. I better steer clear of those things. Anyway, so the Solaria Desert, well, first you need to understand what Solaria means. So Solaria is, or was, a race of salamander-like people who founded the desert thousands of years ago. Now this was before Ameridon became, you know, one of the countries, you know, within Metropia. So because of that, you need to understand that the desert was named after those people. Now the Salamarians were mostly an aggressive race of people. They believed in taking over the desert, and because of that, the rich history of bad things that they've done has transferred over into what the people do now. They sell unauthorized hardware, stuff like that. Stuff that, well, I'd rather not talk about, even though I am on the side of justice here, but I'm not exactly like my good friend Shane Zarosa, who's a known bounty hunter. Instead, I'd rather talk about what's going on now. You see, the people that once lived in those apartments all had something in common. They weren't exactly the nicest people. They went after people, attacked people, even took people's lives at some points. Because of that, those people were stubborn and thought, oh, well, help will be on the way, and they won't be able to do what they usually do to track them down. Well, come to find out, those same people later lost their lives in the fire. Hence, yeah, the Great Void. Only the thing about the Great Void is there's an unwritten rule about the Great Void. Vengeful souls that venture out into the Great Void as stars oftentimes come back seeking revenge on those that have wronged them. Huh. I wonder if that's why Waystar keeps coming back. Yeah, you don't even want to know about that guy. Anyway, so, why is this important? Well, it's because of the fact that these people from the Solaria Desert that lived in these Solaria apartments oftentimes will haunt the place around this time of year. And trust me, a lot of people who tour the place, because, you know, it's on a better track now. Solaria Desert stuff, you know, like, let's just say the Solaria Desert is a lot nicer nowadays. It's a lot more hospitable, not as hostile towards people. You've still got your people out there who do things, but for the most part, it's halfway decent. But those that dare go to this abandoned apartments, which hasn't even been rebuilt, even though they literally said they would, they always run back with the tails between their legs, and rightfully so. Because I'm gonna be honest, what was that? Hello? Is anyone here? Huh. Well, whoever it was, they don't seem to be there anymore. Anyway, what was I saying again? Oh, right. But the thing is, though, these vengeful spirits never seem to be outwardly hostile to the point where they will actively try and terminate someone, for lack of a better word. Instead, they just cause mayhem, trying to scare people off. After all, they believed it was their domain. So, yeah, that's the first story out of the way. So, what's the next one? Well, how about the cosmic horrors of the Ionis Nebula? The Ionis Nebula is a nebula that is located, again, just like the Great Void, on the outskirts of the Solaria System. However, the Ionis Nebula has a bit of a dark secret. It is the home to many cosmic horrors. Now, I know on Earth, the first thing that you think of when you think of a cosmic horror is something like Cthulhu, or, you know, whatever other things that you humans think of. Or, if you're a nerd like, you know, some people, you might think of, you know, some creature named a Gygus or something from a video game called Earthbound. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know all the details about what you humans like. I'm not trying to hold any resentment towards you guys, because trust me, we have a lot of humans that visit our planet, or other planets in the Solaria System, and people all seem to really like us. But the Ionis Nebula is the site of what people like to call the cosmic horror hallucination phenomenon. I know it's kind of a wordy name, but let me explain. The Ionis Nebula is known for its dark purple/red clouds of nebulae dust. When traveling to this place, it's highly recommended that you have taken medication that keeps your sanity in check. The reason being, to put it quite bluntly, you're going to be experiencing a lot of hallucinations. And trust me, it ain't the fun kind. I should know, I once went there with a few friends of mine during some peacetime between the First and Second Solarian War. And let's just say that, well, yeah. There's a reason why, alongside another place in the Solaria System, is considered forbidden. You only go there if you're absolutely authorized to go there. I'm talking, you know, visions of skulls running out at you. You got, you know, voices calling you to come closer to the center of the nebula, which you probably shouldn't, because that's where a high concentration of nebulaic storms is, and you don't really want to be caught in there. It's not exactly the best thing to do. Anyway, yeah, so that's not really the biggest story compared to the Callahan thing I was just mentioning, but it's something to at least consider talking about as we make our way to the third thing. For this third story, we're going to go all the way from my home country of Ameridon to the home country of my best friend Volpiro Amaro, who I think you might have met in another stream around Christmas last year or something. Yeah, he seemed really cheerful to talk to you guys. Hope you guys treated him nicely. Anyway, so this doesn't really regard Volpiro himself, but rather his home country of Solaria. A lot of people on Earth seem to mispronounce it as Solaria, but it's Solaria. Solaria is a country that, to humans, is a lot like certain parts of a place called Europe or something. Although we do have a place called Euros, but that's a different story entirely, and we're not even going to be talking about Euros. No, we're going to be talking about Solaria. Rather, an infamous criminal from Solaria who happens to also be a Solarian fox. A man by the name of Buford Elidard, who owned a beautiful and prestigious looking vehicle known as the Winston. The Winston is a vehicle created by a Solarian vehicle manufacturer known as Solaris. No. It's Solaris. I don't know how to pronounce it. Seriously, shush. Anyway. The Winston itself is described as a vintage-style luxury sedan that looks as though it resembles a vehicle from Earth that looks like it was made in, I think it was like the 30s or something, I don't remember, but yeah. Apparently in this game there's a vehicle that's similar to it called the Stafford, so I guess that's something, but yeah. And the wind's really picking up. Anyway, so this Winston was a beloved vehicle of this Buford guy. However, as with most criminals who have a habit of making unfortunate mistakes, his mistake cost him his life. You see, there was a time when this Buford guy would go out and, hunt for money. And by hunt, I mean he would actively go after people to try and rob them. There was one person, however, that he tried to rob, and it ended up in utter failure so bad that he ended up losing his life. He tried to rob the general of the Solarian army. Which, by the way, don't do that to any kind of military general. Whether it's from Metropia, I'm sorry, not Metropia, from Metropia City, the capital city of Ameridon, or, any place entirely. Don't do that, because you're not going to have a good time. Case in point, Buford, well, let's just say that because of the fact that the general had some security aides by him, this Buford guy got his tail handed to him on a silver platter. He ended up losing his life, and his car was then confiscated and kept. And as you would expect from someone like Buford, his soul went straight to the Great Void. Except this is yet another occasion where people's souls from the Great Void will be vengeful. He really, really had enough of that general, who is still alive to this day. But something I forgot to mention about these star spirit things that people have talked about in the Solaria System, they will oftentimes manifest themselves into a corporeal form similar to their real form. As a result, well, yeah. looks like we got some bogeys. Yeah, like I said, in this case, Solaria was chock full of people like that. Anyway, going back to this story, Buford's soul manifested itself in a different way. You see, stars in either the Great Void or the Great Stars will sometimes manifest themselves in different ways. For example, in Buford's case, his soul literally influenced the electronics within his car, and it literally became alive. And the only way to stop it was to destroy the vehicle. And there was a case where this happened, as in the only case where this happened, because obviously once it's destroyed it can't come back. Although the soul will still remain, but it'll be back into the Great Void where it belongs. Permanently, hopefully. In any case, what ended up happening was Buford's soul transferred itself into the car. You see, the cars in our star system are known to be highly technologically advanced compared to Earth's. For example, a vehicle like this would look way different, but it would still maintain that same aesthetic. But, case in point, let's just say that his car literally became alive, it would actually speak to people, and it would go on a rampage one day. The French government had ordered the French military to go on a mad goose chase trying to find this guy, or rather his car. When they soon realized that this car, because of its, status of being possessed, they had no other choice than to destroy the vehicle. And they saw two different options. They could either, A, get it to a secluded location, or B, capture it and then use a spectral absorption device, or SAD for short, to absorb the soul back into its star form, then release it safely back into the Great Void, and then destroy the vehicle safely. The reason why they chose that over the other one is because by destroying an electronic device or a vehicle that has, a possession status on it, it would therefore cause nearby devices to become unstable because of an EMP pulse tied to the high amounts of energy within this star. So, because of that, they had to capture the spirit, turn it into the star once more, then release it, after which, they safely disposed of the car by taking it to a junkyard and having it destroyed. However, there is a replica of this car at the French Museum of History and Odd Phenomenon. So, make of that what you will, as we make our way to the final story. And this is something that I have been looking forward to. And this is something that goes without saying. That person I mentioned earlier, Waystar, trust me, There's a lot of horror stories about him. And although he may not be around anymore, because me and my team took care of him 3 times as a matter of fact, there's a lot to talk about. From the Metropia Capitol bombing that took my parents and my girlfriend, to well, what else is there to say other than, you know, the fact that the guy was a mad scientist? There's numerous, and I mean a whole litany of things that he's done. But I think the most terrifying thing he has ever done was it was the Third War. It was the Third Solarian War. We were at war with who is now called Emperor Waystar once again. He called himself an emperor after we exiled him to another planet. But in that war, a terrifying event took place. It was a race against time. He had a powerful super weapon by the name of the Decimus. That's the name of it. And it was a race against time between me and my team and Waystar. If we didn't make it to Apollyon as quickly as we could, terror would have struck the entirety of the Solaria System. That's how powerful the Decimus weapon was. Its name literally comes from the ancient Solarian word Decimus, meaning absolute destruction. And as you would expect from a name like that, if we hadn't have gotten to Apollyon when we did, it would have wiped out half of the Solaria System. And trust me, it was a lot of work. You know, we saw a lot of things happen. And I know this isn't exactly the same as a horror story in this particular regard, but it is at least something that, you know, should be talked about. Because trust me, as someone who literally saved the Solaria System numerous times from this guy, I have witnessed it myself and have lived to tell the tale alongside my 3 squad mates. But the Decimus weapon wasn't the only thing I was afraid of. See, with each war, Waystar only grew more powerful. To the point where he was so powerful during the Third War that his form was unrecognizable. He was nightmarish, had a permanent scowl on his face, and it was just terrifying to see. But you know what? Yours truly saved the day. But along the way, I did technically have a chance to reconnect with someone, even though we kind of did that before the first war. It was a good friend of mine named Shane Zarosa. I mentioned her earlier. She's still okay, don't worry. But during the Third War, something happened where she was blackmailed by Dr. Waystar into thinking that me and my team were going to attack her and, you know, hurt her brother. Bear in mind, Shane Zarosa, she deeply cares for her brother, and I'd rather not go into why they have such a deep bond, and no, it's not any kind of weird reasons, it's just because of the fact that they both have quite the tragic past when it comes to their family life. That's all I'm going to say. But what ended up happening was Shane was under the false assumption that me and my teammates were going to hurt her teammates and attack her brother in a way that would leave him out of the picture, basically. After a while of a skirmish, she quickly realized through a message sent by Volpiro that we weren't going to do that. And it took a little bit of convincing, but by the time the battle was over, we had precious little time to spare. She did apologize after the war, and we did get a chance to reconnect. But at that moment, I was terrified, because me and Shane, we've been best friends ever since we first met back at the the Metropia City Flight Academy, where I ended up graduating at age 17. Let's just say that she wasn't exactly so lucky. She didn't get a chance to graduate, nor did her brother, because of something that shouldn't have happened, but it did anyway. Her father, he stepped in, and let's just say that, Shane and Alex's parents, that's her brother's name is Alex, their parents aren't exactly the nicest people. I met them firsthand, and they are not nice at all. Especially to their own kids. And this isn't trying to make light of something that I know humans have dealt with before. Not all humans, but I have heard of plenty of cases where this is the case with people. And to that I say, I feel you there. I never grew up with that kind of situation, and I know the owner of this, what was it, a YouTube channel? Yeah, I know he hasn't had to deal with that either. But to those that do, just know that I sympathize. With that being said, Shane and Alex were both forcefully unenrolled from the academy by their father, even though Shane was the one that enrolled her and her brother in the first place. The reason why her father did that was because he wasn't so much worried about what would happen to his daughter and her brother should they become pilots. It's more so he just wanted them to be stuck at home all the time so that way he could have... I'd rather not get into it because I really don't want to say something that I'll regret saying. All you need to know is that, well, yeah. But, with that being said, I think this would be a good stopping point. So, as I call in my starfighter, somewhere. Never mind. I guess I'll just, leave it here. Anyway, this is Fang Rokkit, the leader of the Delta Fang squadron. And, I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed, helping my friend from Earth out with this little thing, because he had trouble thinking about stuff, and I brought this idea up to him. So, yeah. That said, again, thank you all very much for visiting and all that stuff. And, yeah, see you later.